I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Monday, November the 4th, 2013. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is set to arrive in Israel tomorrow, where he is scheduled to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem and later meet with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas in Bethlehem. Kerry is meeting with the leaders to discuss the status and latest developments in peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians. Meanwhile, Haaretz reports today that according to Israeli Knesset member Zahava Gal'on, the Obama administration plans to present a draft for a framework agreement on permanent status between Israel and the Palestinians in the new year. Gal'on, who is chairwoman of the left-wing Meretz party, said that Secretary of State Kerry informed Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu about this during their meeting in Rome 2 weeks ago. Gal'on said she was basing her information on conversations she has had over the last few days with senior Palestinian and American officials. She told Haaretz the Obama administration plans to achieve a diplomatic breakthrough at the beginning of 2014. Further saying the Americans want to move from coordinating between the two sides to a phase of active intervention. This coming January, she said, they will present a new diplomatic plan that will include all the core issues and will be based on the 1967 lines with agreed-on land swaps. Gal'on added that the plan will include a gradual timetable for implementation and will also address the dimension of regional peace based on the Arab Peace Initiative. Peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians restarted this past July, and negotiators have met approximately 15 times since then, with no real breakthroughs reported to this point. The New York Times reports that the U.S.'s National Security Agency has tracked, among other targets, high-priority military targets in Israel. The report published by the Times over the weekend cited documents leaked to the Guardian newspaper by whistleblower Edward Snowden, revealing how American agents have spied on leaders across the globe, friend and foe alike, and the report also lists Israel as an example of an ally that the NSA both spied on and shared intelligence information with. The documents describe collaboration with the Israel SIGINT National Unit, which gets raw NSA eavesdropping material and provides it in return. They also, however, mentioned the agency's tracking of high-priority Israeli military targets, including drone aircraft and the Black Arrow missile system, which is a ballistic missile used as target practice for the Arrow missile defense system. Israel's Energy and Water Resources Minister Silvan Shalom told Israel Radio that he was not surprised to hear that the U.S. had been spying on Israel and that defense officials knew this as well. And last month, former Mossad head Danny Yatom told Ma'ariv that the U.S. had spied on Israel in the past, among other allies. The Women of the Wall group held their monthly prayer at the Western Wall in Jerusalem today, which also marked the group's 25th anniversary. Supporters from Israel and abroad attended the service this morning, estimated to have held in an attendance of between 800 and 1,000 people. The prayer service went relatively smoothly with no violent demonstrations or arrests, although hundreds of ultra-Orthodox young girls arrived at the site for a peaceful and quiet protest of the women's group and held their own prayer service at the site. The Women of the Wall group launched their struggle for equality and freedom of religion at the Western Wall in November of 1988. The Women of the Wall group recently presented a list of conditions under which they would agree to pray at a third egalitarian section at the Western Wall at Robinson's Arch. Although the group is reportedly somewhat divided between those who are not in favor of the move to Robinson's Arch and those who may not be happy about it but are willing to compromise, Jewish Agency Chairman Natan Sharansky, who proposed the new section, said today that with the proposal of Robinson's Arch, he was trying to act as a bridge between the women of the wall, who fight for their right to wear prayer shawls and tefillin at the wall and read aloud from the Torah, and between those who feel that only prayer within the traditional Orthodox practice should be allowed at the site. Sharansky said today, for the Kotel, the most important thing is to keep the most ancient Orthodox synagogue in the world in one piece, adding, "I have no doubt that on both sides there is a feeling that they didn't get everything they deserved. But if one side gets everything, he said, that means the other side is defeated, and then we all lose. German magazine Focus reported yesterday that approximately 1,500 pieces of art confiscated by the Nazis were found in an apartment in Germany. The artwork includes pieces by Picasso, Chagall, and Matisse, and were seized by German authorities back in 2011 from the Munich apartment of the son of art dealer Hildebrand Gurlitt, who collected the works in the 30s and 40s. German authorities had not publicly disclosed the find initially, and according to The Guardian, they may have done so because they were wary to share the information because of fear of the diplomatic difficulties that the massive number of claims for restitution from around the world the discovery was likely to bring. Focus magazine, who broke the story, said the works were likely confiscated by the Nazis as, quote, degenerate art or was stolen from Jewish owners. The find of the art is being described as the biggest discovery of its kind in the post-war era. And the head of the Central Council of Jews in Germany and vice president of the World Jewish Congress, Dieter Grauman, told the Bild Zeitung newspaper that the task at hand now was to quickly find out whether there are legitimate owners or heirs to the art, saying that belated justice is better than none. Israeli newspaper Ma'ariv reported yesterday that American aerospace and defense contractor Lockheed Martin plans to open a subsidiary in Israel. The report said that Lockheed was also looking to purchase Israeli companies and integrate itself into the Israeli economy and into its domestic security market. According to the paper, Lockheed Martin Executive Vice President Patrick Dewar made the announcement over the weekend during a visit to Israel, where he said that in addition to building a branch for information technology and cyber protection in Israel, which was announced earlier this year, Lockheed will look to expand cooperation with Israeli defense companies and to work in the domestic security market. Lockheed Martin is already a major supplier of planes and technology to the Israeli Air Force and has strong ties with Israel's defense industry. Most recently, in 2010, the Israel Air Force ordered 20 F-35 stealth jet fighters from the company, and this past April, Israel Aerospace Industries, Israel's major defense company, won a bid to build and supply the wings for the F-35 fighter series. Bloomberg View reports that U.S. Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel said that pressure from Israel is one of the factors that has brought Iran to the negotiating table. Hagel spoke to Bloomberg View columnist Jeffrey Goldberg last week, where Goldberg asked him if Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu was using scare tactics to torpedo Iran negotiations, to which Hagel responded that he thinks Netanyahu is legitimately concerned about the security of the State of Israel and that he was not trying to intentionally sabotage the talks. Hagel argued that Netanyahu's threats of military action against Iran, together with the pressure of international sanctions, may have pushed Iran to a place of negotiation. Hagel said it's true that sanctions, not just U.S. sanctions, but UN sanctions, multilateral sanctions, have done tremendous economic damage. And I think that Iran is responding to the constant pressure from Israel, knowing that Israel believes them to be an existential threat. I think all of this, he said, combined probably brought the Iranians to where we are today. Hagel added whether the Iranians will carry forth on that, we'll see. And tonight at 10 here on Shalom TV, you can see Jeffrey Goldberg, where he discusses whether the peace process between Israel and the Palestinians can be successful. Also at 8 p.m. tonight, theoretical physicist and MIT professor Alan Lightman discusses science and religion. And then at 9 p.m. on L'Chaim, Mark Golub is joined by author and advocate Joshua Safran, who talks about his memoir, Free Spirit, Growing Up on the Road and Off the Grid, which describes his remarkable journey from his highly unconventional upbringing to his return to Judaism and his work as a women's rights advocate. And that's tonight here on Shalom TV and ShalomTV.com. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Monday, November the 4th, 2013. I'm Teisha Bader.